there's no visuals. So you guys are going to have to just, pop your headphones on, just close your eyes, get into get into it. You don't even need to watch me. Don't worry about my face. It's not interesting. Just listen, and it's crazy stories. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to get into a video by Urmaker. And this, I was going through all the videos and I needed to record one for tonight. I didn't know what to do because they're all quite long and I don't really have the time at the moment. Anyway, sorry, I'm looking over there because I'm about to read you this title, and this is why I'm recording this video. The Phantom Heilbronn. The deadliest female serial killer to never kill. Please tell me, how does that make sense? It doesn't. And that is why I'm going to be recording this video today. Let's do this. I'm going to get right into it. Boom, 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 boom.
The case you are about to hear about today is one of the ones I find the most intriguing.
Go and subscribe.
Something that has a twist at the end that even M. Night
people.
Shyamalan couldn't even write. So if you're into true crime and you want to find things that you haven't heard about, this is the perfect video for you. And also, it is June, and you know what that means. It is the perfect time for today's video sponsor, June's Journey. June's Journey is a free-to-play hidden object mystery game with a captivating detective story. I want to give a special shout out to June's Journey for sponsoring this video.
Go and check out the video. Go and click his link in the description. Go and support as much as you can, people.
She was known as the woman without a face, and she was one of the most brutal female serial killers to ever terrorize Europe. The German police would later dub this strange woman the Phantom of Heilbronn, because with over 40 committed crimes spanning over 2 decades, they believed she had.
I thought so that I couldn't pronounce that word at all. Heilbronn. Don't know if I'm saying it right.
To be a real-life phantom to evade capture for so long. Her first known murder was committed on the 25th of May in 1993, as her DNA was found on a cup after the ghastly murder of a 62-year-old woman in Eder, Oberstein, Germany. It wasn't long after this before she committed her next murder, that of a 61-year-old man. He was killed on
going for all the old people. Easy targets, I guess.
The 21st of March 2001 in Freiburg, Germany. The Phantom of Heilbronn didn't only specialize in murder. She was an established thief too, because on the 24th of October 2001, her DNA was found on a leftover cookie in a trailer that had been forcefully opened during the night in Budenheim, Germany. Numerous attempts were made to trace her, as her DNA was found once again on a syringe containing heroin in October. But at the end of it all, the police force still came up with nothing. This strange woman had escaped unscathed once again, proving to everyone that she truly was the best of the best. Her DNA was found on a toy pistol after the robbery of some Vietnamese gemstone traders in Arbois, France. Tensions were rising now as the entire police force wondered how she managed to slip out of Germany undetected to continue her crime spree in France. A year would go by after this robbery before she would be heard from again, as on the 6th of May 2005 her DNA was found on a projectile after a strange fight that occurred between 2 brothers in Worms, Germany.
What the hell?
During this time, any detective who took her case bore a confused look on their face, as the Phantom of Heilbronn didn't operate by pattern. It seemed like she just traversed the continent of Europe committing crimes anytime she felt like it. Things just got worse from there as the Phantom would continue on this trend, making her potentially untraceable. On the 3rd of October...
Listen, is this making any sense to you at all? And I'm guessing this is why it's called the Phantom. So, how the heck did she just leave her DNA? It's like, yeah, you have some DNA. Yeah, you have some DNA. Yeah. Go. DNA for everybody. But they still don't catch her. I'm confused.
October 2006, a year after her last crime, detectives would find her DNA once again on a stone that was used to smash a window during a burglary in Saarbrücken, Germany. I butchered that like crazy. And just a couple of months later, traces of her DNA was also found again, at an optometrist store that was burglarized in March 2007 in Upper Australia. The Phantom's gruesome murders and burglaries throughout the previous years had reached an all-time high now. But one of the most heinous crimes she committed, a crime that proved to be the breaking point for the German authorities, was the murder of a police officer on the 25th of April 2007 in in Heilbronn, Germany. All efforts were redoubled to capture her. But at the end of it, nothing came out of their investigations as she managed to escape undetected once again. And it was after this murder that she was finally given the nickname, the Phantom of Heilbronn. At the time, the Phantom had committed an alarming spree of crimes during the years between 2003 and 2007. She was implicated in over 20 burglaries, in addition to the thefts of motorbikes and cars that were spread across 3 states in Germany. In addition to these, 2 states in Australia. She would continue this crime spree early into the next year, as on the 30th of January 2008, her DNA was found in a vehicle that was used to transport the bodies of 3 Georgians that were brutally killed in Germany.
What?
Just like in the previous years, the Phantom would go on to commit numerous burglaries in the year 2008. And it wasn't until the month of October that she was connected to another murder, as her DNA was found once again in the car of a nurse who was found dead in Germany. This murder would prove to be the Phantom's last. A special task force was formed to capture her, and by any means possible. In January 2009, a hefty reward of 300,000 euros was offered for clues to the whereabouts of the Phantom. The Phantom had terrorized the country of Germany for far too long, and they were willing to find her by any means necessary. Now, to anyone who's been listening to the details of this case, I'm sure you're wondering why the police haven't found the Phantom yet, as they already have numerous samples of her DNA.
That is exactly what I was wondering. How have they not caught her if they keep finding her DNA everywhere? What's going on? And then also, I want to see a photo of her. Urmaker, please add a photo so I know who you're talking about.
Things weren't that simple due to numerous factors. For starters, DNA science now isn't what it used to be years ago. Plus, the Phantom's crime pattern, in addition to the geographical disparities of the crime scenes, made it much harder to pinpoint her exact location. Even her alleged accomplices in the crimes she committed made things harder for the police, as not only did they all come from different backgrounds, with the lineup including Romanians, Slovaks, Serbs, Iraqis, and Albanians, but each and every one of them also vehemently denied her existence.
Yo, that's crazy.
Things got even worse from there, as some witnesses who claimed they had seen her described her as a man, and she had never been captured or caught on any security cameras since she started committing her crimes. Things were really looking...
Well, there goes that answer. I wonder if they still haven't caught her. Maybe she's not real. You think she's real? I've got a feeling she's not a real person, and it's just something people made up to scare kids at night.
Looking bleak for the German police force at the time, but they weren't going to give up. And while they continued to carry out their relentless witch hunt in hopes of finding the Phantom of Heilbronn, a forensic analyst was uncovering a fact concerning the case that would shock the entire continent of Europe. The Phantom of Heilbronn met her end in March 2009. Detectives had found her DNA once again on the body of a male burn victim. It was a strange murder that raised numerous suspicions, and in an effort to identify the corpse, the Phantom's DNA was detected once again in the strangest place, as her fingerprints were found on the application of a male asylum seeker. This discovery turned everything concerning the case on its head, as the forensic analysis began speculating a new theory, and it didn't take long before they found their answer. An answer that stated, the Phantom of Heilbronn never existed.
I said that. I told you. Seemed like it didn't exist, but then what? Whose DNA did they keep finding?
To prove this theory, they analyzed the cotton swabs that were normally used for collecting DNA samples on crime scenes. And lo and behold, the Phantom's DNA was found on all of them. They believed the cotton swabs used for the DNA probing were already contaminated in the factory before they were shipped, as it was later revealed that they had all come from the same factory.
I called it. I said it wasn't a real thing. That was the only explanation, man. So it was compromised, but then whose DNA was it? Like, was it picking up this random DNA?
This factory in question employed numerous Eastern European women who handled the packaging of the cotton swabs. And shockingly enough, the Phantom's DNA belonged to one of the female factory workers that handled the swabs with their hands. Their baffling theory was further proven by the Bavarian police, as they got their swabs from a different factory. This explained why none of the Phantom's DNA was ever found in Bavaria, even though the state was very close to many of the crimes her DNA was found. As you would guess, the revelation was a hard pill to swallow.
Oh, that girl that works at that factory is the Phantom, and she did commit all these crimes, and that was her, what do you call it, her alibi. Oh, just work at the factory.
And some still argued
Just
that
imagine.
the swabs were properly sterilized, so the DNA couldn't have come from the factory. But investigations revealed that while the sterilization process killed any potential fungi, virus, and bacteria on them, the swabs were still contaminated with traces of human cells in the form of sweat, skin, particles, saliva, and other bodily secretions.
Hectic.
And at the end of it all, it was officially proven that the so-called Phantom of Heilbronn never truly existed.
Okay.
The bizarre case of the Phantom of Heilbronn left the entire continent of Europe baffled, as it truly was the most colossal wild goose chase of the 20th century.
That's hilarious. Oh my word. But why is there so much time left in this video? Oh my gosh. So they literally were chasing no one because it wasn't a real thing. That's so funny.
Numerous security measures were immediately put in place to minimize the chance of another contamination event in DNA analysis. This was done to make sure things like this never happen again. For those of you still sticking around, I'm going to go ahead and start another true crime.
Oh,
On the
thanks.
13th of June
2 in 1. I love it. 2 in 1. Go Urmaker. Thank you so much.
1964, 33-year-old Calvin Jones was sitting in his car with his then 23-year-old girlfriend Sarah Tolbert. Apparently, the couple had traveled from their home state to visit Calvin's father on his birthday. They were both in the driveway of an unspecified hotel in Maine, and everything was fine until 1:03 a.m. Numerous witnesses stated that the couple had gotten into a serious argument while sitting in Calvin's car, and that they could hear the couple's rising screaming match from their respective rooms. The witnesses believed both Calvin and Sarah were drunk as their yells became more violent and irate. And it didn't take long after that before they heard a profound shriek coming from the car. In one of the nearby witnesses' words, "I heard a thump and then a loud shriek. It even scared my children, I have to say." And while none of the witnesses saw what actually happened with their own eyes, it would later be revealed by Calvin himself that in an attempt to end the escalating argument with his then girlfriend, he grabbed a rubber hose and beat her to death with it.
Jeez. A rubber hose. How the hell do you do that? Unless I don't know what a rubber hose is.
Calvin later went into detail as he confessed he had struck Sarah 15 times on the head before she finally stopped moving. Shocked at what he had just done, Calvin Jones then proceeded to drive around for several hours hoping Sarah would eventually wake up. But she unfortunately passed away in the passenger's seat.
Hectic.
Calvin, who didn't know this at the time, kept driving around with the corpse of his girlfriend in his car. But it wasn't long before he finally realized that she was dead. After it had dawned on him that he had just committed first-degree murder, Calvin Jones did the only thing that could come to his now spiraling mind. He drove to the police station and confessed to Sarah's cold-blooded murder. To the cops at the station where Calvin confessed his crimes,
Do you think this could happen to anyone? Like, you think if someone had to push you to your limit, would you ever be able to kill someone? I don't think I would. I really don't. I don't know. I mean, but when you say push to your limit, I know some people's limit is very low because they're psycho. But I'm talking about like real, like normal people, you know? Like, do you think it's possible? I don't picture myself ever being able to do something like that. Never, ever, ever. I know I get angry, but then I'd rather just punch a wall or something, you know? If I had to. Hasn't happened for years. No, I'm joking. I've never punched a wall.
the case was already closed before it began. For starters, this murder wasn't Calvin's first offense, as his records showed that
You see? Psycho.
he was an ex-con who had already spent time in prison for attempting to poison his wife. All this in
hectic.
addition to his detailed confession and the body of Sarah Tolbert that was found in his car, just as he stated, with severe abrasions to her head. The cops also easily found the bloody hose used to commit the morbid act in the car, with Mr. Jones's prints all over it. The case wasn't even closed yet, and the detectives, the cops, the judge, and the jury, and even Calvin himself all knew he was going to spend the rest of his days in prison. Everything looked bleak for Calvin, and I'm sure he was already accepting his fate. But before his day in court had come, Calvin's already condemned fate took an unforeseen and dramatic turn. As I said earlier, while it was clear to nearly everyone that Calvin had committed the murder of his girlfriend in cold blood, the men and women in forensic science begged to differ.
What? But he confessed. So it wasn't even... What? No.
An autopsy carried out by the forensic pathologist proved without a doubt that Calvin Jones was innocent. The claims came as a shock to everyone who was working on the case.
I'm shocked and I don't even know about the case.
But as the details concerning the autopsy were revealed, they all came to the same conclusion that Mr. Jones was innocent. To understand the drastic and sudden change of tone in this case, I'll need to give you a full rundown of what happened. As while everyone else had been coming to a clear conclusion, the medical examiners stated that even if Calvin Jones had beaten Sarah Tolbert in his car that night, she was already going to die the next morning. Sarah was already suffering from a blood disease, sickle cell anemia, an important detail that was only discovered after they carried out the medical examination on Miss Tolbert's body. It was further stated that Sarah was already on the verge of dying during that fateful night when Mr. Jones assaulted her, and she had only a few hours left to live before the disease became fatal.
Oh, wow. You think he's like the luckiest man in the world? I mean, still messed up what he did, but I mean... So I'm guessing the blood clot thing killed her, not him. Yo, that's nuts.
To properly prove
Such
every claim,
twists
the autopsy
tonight.
was further carried out by 2 different medical examiners. And at the end of their thorough examinations, they both came to the conclusion that Miss Sarah Tolbert had died from natural causes, and the beatings she had received from Mr. Calvin Jones didn't play any role in her unfortunate and untimely death.
Yo, that's crazy,
The surprising news
man.
came like words of joy to Calvin, as in light of new details, his charges were bumped down to one of assault and battery. On the day of his trial, the presiding judge, after going through the new evidence, eventually agreed to accept Mr. Calvin's guilty plea to assault and battery. The judge termed the case rare and unusual, as everyone who had heard of the case was still incredibly confused as to the outcome of the trial. But, in the judge's own words, were it not for the medical reports, this man would have been facing a murder trial today. I really do appreciate you taking the time to listen to this video. And don't forget to get into the murder mystery game with June's Journey. Click that link in the description or pinned comment.
Go
Become
and click
the
it,
detective.
people.
So these were a couple cases that are very interesting. I hadn't heard about them before, so I hope many of you haven't either. I thought the whole Phantom of Heilbronn was a crazy story, especially the twist at the end that they never existed. Probably better than some movies if you think about it. In fact, they should make a movie on it. Regardless, if you enjoyed the content and want more, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the like for me. I will catch you in the next video. And just remember, it's always scary if it's true.
It's true. I love that.
Bad bye.
Awesome, Urmaker. Well done. Fantastic video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, there's no visuals, so you guys are going to have to just, pop your headphones on, just close your eyes, get into the, get into it. You don't even need to watch me. Don't worry about my face. It's not interesting. Just listen, and it's crazy stories. I actually really enjoyed that. Something fun, something different. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, do all those little things, like the video, and, share it with friends if you want. Yeah. Cool, man. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys have a good evening further. I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers. Goodbye.